Welcome to Rosebank Farm. In this video I wanted to make a thin blue line planter. I wanted to thank all of my subscribers and especially my son-in-law for all of his support and your support to my channel. Okay. The thin blue line is a term that was coined by LAPD police officer Bill Parker back in the 1950s. Through the 1970s, that term spread to all the police departments, and then there was a documentary by Errol Morris in 1988 that was entitled The Thin Blue Line. Additional service branches have adopted their own colors, so when you're making a flower pot for someone that you want to honor, you can customize it by using the color of their discipline. So I'm going to run through the list. So the thin blue line is for police officers, of course. The thin red line is firefighters. The gold line is for 911 operators and police dispatchers. Thin yellow line is for security guards, security personnel, and tow truck drivers. I found that interesting. Thin green line is for federal agents, park rangers, wildlife officers, and the Border Patrol. Thin orange line for search and rescue and EMT. Thin purple line is for those who hold political office who have suffered injury or death. Thin silver line is for corrections officers currently serving who have been killed in the line of duty. And the thin white line is for emergency medical services like your doctors and your nurses. So let's get right into the project. The first thing you'll need is a flower pot. I prefer terracotta, it's very easy to paint. So you'll need a flower pot. I got some acrylic paint in the color of Award Blue from my local craft store. I'm going to be using a sponge brush. After we paint the blue, we'll go outside and spray paint it black. And I'll be using some painter's tape to cover up the blue. And then over here, you just need something to cover up your work surface. So I'm going to be doing my painting inside of this box. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just put our flower pot inside of our box. And then I'm not going to measure how far down I'm going to be just freehand, a stripe. The edges are not going to be defined, but that won't matter because the painter's tape, and when I spray paint it black, that'll make a crisp, sharp edge. So we're just gonna start painting. Okay, so I'm just going to load some paint right on my paintbrush, and I think the rim will be covered up with some of the flowers spilling down, so I definitely want that black. So I think I want to make the thin blue line just a little bit below the rim. So I'm just going to start and paint around just like that. Acrylic paint dries very quickly. I'm not happy with the color, so I think I'm going to do another coat. I ended up putting 3 coats of the blue paint on here. I kind of waited maybe 5 minutes in between coats just to let it dry a little bit because I really wanted it to be thick and not be able to see the terracotta through the blue. And then after I did the 3 coats, I waited about 20 minutes and it is dry to the touch now. So the next thing I'm going to do is mark a line where I'm going to place the tape. So I ripped the top off of a cereal box. I'm just going to hold it underneath the rim, and I have a pen, and I'm just going to mark my line. And then I'm just going to continue to move the cereal box. This way I don't have to measure each time. I just slide this like a template and just hold it right there underneath the rim, and you can see my line coming right across. So the next thing we're going to do is put the painter's tape around the middle of the thin blue line. Attach it just underneath the pen line that I made with my template. And you want to make sure you push down hard so it adheres as we go. Okay, and the painter's tape is what's going to give us that nice crisp blue line. So I have my painter's tape on. I ended up having to use 2 rows because the flower pot is wider at the top, narrower at the bottom, so the tape wasn't going on evenly. So I had to do 2 rows so that my top and my bottom will be nice and crisp when I spray paint. So now we're ready to head outside, and I'm just using Krylon Fusion all-in-one paint and primer. So I'm just going to shake this up and we'll paint. This is what it looks like after 1 coat of paint. I'm pretty happy with it. It's really nice and glossy, but I'm going to give it a 2nd coat because I want to cover the lip up here a little bit better, and underneath the rim I need to spray up under there and cover that as well. So I put 2 coats of paint on the flower pot. The 2nd coat I made sure to get the rim and up underneath this part. So now let's peel off the tape and see what our stripe looks like. Alright, so I got the tape all peeled off. It did peel a little bit of the paint off, so I think I'm going to have to touch it up a little bit. I'm not real happy with some of the spots. Well, let's go ahead and get it planted up. So the first thing you need is potting mix. You want to make sure it says potting mix. That's going to have some perlite in it to help retain moisture and all the nutrients that your plant needs as versus regular garden soil. So we're just going to fill up the pot with our soil. So I'm going to add some amendments to the soil just because these flowers have been in their cans for a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to add is some flower tone. It is just a blossom booster so that we can have a lot more blooms for the rest of the summer. So I'm just going to grab a little handful of that and sprinkle it around and mix it in. And then the next thing I'm going to add to the soil is a slow release fertilizer. It'll say smart release, slow release, extended release are some of the names you might see. They usually come in a pelleted form, and these release with heat. So as it gets hot in the summer and you water, they're kind of heat activated to release some of that extra nutrition. So let's just shake some of this in. And we just want to mix that in just the top layer of the soil. Okay, so we're going to get started with your thriller plant. The thriller plant is your tall plant that's like an accent piece, and we are going to use a spike plant. What are you doing, kitty? Now, depending on if your arrangement is going to be seen from all directions, you would want to put your thriller right in the center. But if it's going to be back up against a wall or something where it has a definite front, as this one will, we're going to put the thriller in the back. So I'm just going to move some soil aside and plant spike right back here. And I like the name Spike because it reminds me of what you might name a service dog. You might name him Spike. We had police officers come to our school and they brought a service dog with them, and his name was Kilo. But here's a Spike plant. The next plant I've chosen is Night Sky Petunia. I like the splatter pattern on it. I thought that was really pretty. The splatter is a different kind of splatter than most of our thin blue line workers are used to seeing, so something pretty. And I chose purple. It reminded me of a royal color that I thought both men and women would like. So we're going to try to tuck 3 of these in here. So we'll do one on the side. Here. And we'll do one towards the front. And here's the 3rd, and we'll tuck that over here on this side. Okay, so there's our Night Sky Splatter Petunia. So the next 2 plants that I've chosen are a black petunia. Just very unusual. I wouldn't normally choose a black for a flower, but it's kind of striking, and I think it'll offset the color of the pot. So we're going to tuck 2 of these in here, and they are called a Black Magic Petunia. So let's put those in, one towards the front and one towards the back. This is a Black Magic Petunia. Make some room, and we're going to tuck that right in. Okay, so a couple more plants. This one is yellow, and my son-in-law, who this arrangement is for, he is a sheriff's deputy, and his uniform has a yellow stripe down the side. So this is a Super Bell yellow chiffon calibrachoa. So the yellow is for my son-in-law's uniform, and this one has a lot of roots, so we're going to rough that up a little bit. And this is going right in the center. We're ready for our last layer. It is called the spiller. So let's go review. We have the spike plant is your thriller. It's your tall one, your centerpiece. The next layer down are your fillers. And the last layer that we're going to plant now are your spillers. And these are the plants that hang down. They soften the edge of the pot. And we're going to use 3 creeping jennies for that. And these plants will just trail down over the side. So there should be a space here. If I move aside the petunias, yep, there's space right here for a creeping jenny. And you want that to spill down over the side like that. Doesn't that look nice? And here's another one. You should be able to fit 3 in here. There should be another space over here for another creeping jenny. I just want that foliage to trail down over the side. And I think we can fit another one in the back near Spike. Okay, so we're going to fit that one right in here. Now I have room for one more item. I could either go with the white lobellaria or with the garden gnome. And there's space right here between the super bells and the petunias where he could fit. I think we're going to go with the gnome. And so he's going to rest right down in there like that. Alright, I'd like to say a big thank you to my subscribers from Sheepdog Nation. I really appreciate your support, and I hope you enjoyed seeing this flower pot come together in honor of the Thin Blue line. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Rosebank Farm, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!